Hey everyone, welcome to Beauty and the Budget. Today we're diving into the real talk about credit card debt with some eye-opening TikToks. We'll see how easily it can happen, how people have turned things around, and why it's such a struggle for so many persons regardless of their background. If you find this video valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, share it with anyone who might benefit from it, and subscribe to join our community. Your support helps create more content just like this. Let's get started.
So many more people than you think are in credit card debt. You're starting to look at people around you and wondering how the hell they're purchasing luxury cars, going on these lavish vacations, buying luxury items like sunglasses, designer purses, things like that. It's credit cards. They're in credit card debt. I just feel like it's not talked about enough and no one is real about it. I consider myself to be a very independent woman. I have a good job. I make a decent living. I've always wondered how the people around me are doing these crazy, lavish, luxury, expensive things and wondering why I can't afford it as someone who also works very hard. It's credit cards.
You will meet people that are going to Europe every summer, buying new cars, buying new outfits, going to Coachella. And if you are wondering, how can they afford to be living like this? Like, is something wrong with me that I'm not able to spend like that? Just know they aren't spending like that because they're working harder than you, because they're networking better than you, because they're better connected. They're probably not even generationally wealthy. They are just in massive amounts of credit card debt. How much someone spends and the life that they portray on social media is not necessarily reflective of how much money they are really making. Nothing is wrong with you if you're not able to spend like that. In fact, you are way better off in the long run because you are living within your means instead of going into crazy debt to portray a lifestyle that is far above it.
I'm going to say it, and I'm saying this with love. If you cannot pay your credit card bill in full, you should not be using your credit card. I talk about double dipping and how to protect yourself using your credit card. But if you decide that you want to use your credit card daily for daily use, you should not be using it if you cannot afford to pay it off in full. If you cannot pay your credit card bill in full by the due date, that means you are in credit card debt. Now, it's not the end of the world to be in credit card debt. Trust me, it's really not, even though it feels like it. But if you're trying to move away from that, or if you're trying to start implementing some of the credit card strategies that I'm talking about, your goal will to be always to pay it in full. And if you know that you can't handle that, don't use your credit card.
I have one more hot take. Credit card debt is not normal. I feel like people make a joke out of it on this app. I get it. If you are in between jobs, you are struggling, and you genuinely need to accumulate credit card debt, this is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about people that go out to dinners, go on vacation. I feel like there's a lot of young, impressionable people on this app, and I want you guys to know that it is not normal. I talk to my friends. We do not have credit card debt. It is not funny. Unfortunately, real life is real. Living within your means is so much better.
So credit card debt, right, is one of the worst debts you could have. In Trinidad, the average interest rate on a credit card is about 25%. And carrying a balance on your credit card at that interest rate can really go downhill. Now, when you have an outstanding balance on your credit card, you'll see on your credit card statement that you are required to pay a minimum payment. Now, this is where it gets real ticklish. If you do not pay that minimum payment, then late fees kick in, and that gets added to your outstanding balance. Additionally, once you miss your minimum payments, and this is usually in the fine print, your interest rate at the bank's discretion can go up on all your existing and new balances. And if you're over the limit now, you will incur an over the limit fee, which will also be added to your outstanding balance. And we didn't even talk about cash advances. So yes, the slope is very slippery, and that's why paying off credit card debt can be so elusive.
There's several ways to pay off credit card debt. One method is called the snowball method. You're gonna list all the amounts you owe from lowest to highest. You're gonna pay down the minimum on all of those amounts, but you're gonna put more towards the lowest amount. Over time, you'll be paying off your debts. Similarly, as a method by highest interest rates, you're going to list all the amounts you owe from highest to lowest interest rate. You're going to pay down the minimums on all of those amounts, but more towards the account with the highest interest rate. The method I use personally, I try to use one credit card for my large purchases. I pay off that credit card with my personal line of credit because the interest rate on my personal line of credit is lower than the interest rate on the credit card. You can open a personal line of credit with your bank. That means I pay off my credit card and then I just pay down my personal line of credit.
I see so many TikToks of people that have
accumulated like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt. And I always see commenters saying like, you shouldn't post that online. You shouldn't share that. You should share that because it's scaring me. I'm terrified. I pay my credit cards off every like 2 days. The credit card of Canada may be more effective than the anti-tobacco campaigns have been in the United States. At least for me. The War on Drugs campaign tripped and fell and scraped its chin up so that way the credit card debt TikTok could fly, could soar above the clouds. And I'm not talking about like you have to put your life expenses on a credit card. I'm talking about people that buy like $40,000 worth of shoes like Carrie Bradshaw did in Sex and the City somehow. I don't know how she did that.
Cause I have $30,000 in credit card debt. When they call, I tell them I can't pay it back yet.
If you're in your 20s and you keep consistently seeing people and you like, oh my God, how are they doing all this? How are they affording all of this? Blah, blah, blah. And you're really confused and you're trying to figure it out, is really one of two, maybe even three options. The first option is credit card debt. Maybe they swiping them cards. They swiping that card. They probably have $30,000 right now in credit card debt. But they're in Bora Bora. Absolutely. The second is rich parents. Don't ever underestimate the power of a rich parent. The third is they might be scamming. They might. Small might. And then the fourth, absolute and final, is that they're really just getting to the money. But that's very low on the total pole. It's probably credit card debt.
La, 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 wait till I get my money right.
3 tips that helped me get out of $10,000 worth of credit card debt twice. My first tip is paying off the lowest credit card balance and then going down the list of lowest to highest. Many people would argue that paying your highest interest is first. I do follow the Dave Ramsey debt snowball plan. I feel like as people, we seek instant gratification, and paying off such like a high number of debt, you really need those small wins to motivate you to the next level. Second would be having an emergency fund. So going back to the Dave Ramsey plan, he does recommend $1,000 of an emergency fund. I don't think he accounts for inflation. I would probably bulk that up to at least like a month of expenses or 3 months if you can. Just having something to cover any unexpected expenses could definitely help. Third, which is super cliche, cutting off the unnecessary expenses. For me, what made it easy is that all of my pleasures in life aren't too pricey. Like, I love buying coffee out or any drink out, so I put it within my budget to spend on this. I really just get like coffee and books, which are like a little bit cheaper, but really just cutting the unnecessary expenses and making room for things that do give you joy. If you have a shopping addiction, maybe put money aside every pay period and then have a big shopping spree at the end. That's something I implemented, is putting money aside for fun money, and then if there's something that I really want, like new makeup or anything, I just take from that fund.
How we feeling out there tonight? Yeah, I am not feeling good.
I really hope this is obvious, but if you have credit card debt, you need to be paying above the monthly minimums. Like, you need to be throwing as much money as you can to get that credit card balance down to zero. Because if you are just paying the monthly minimum balance, the amount that they tell you need to pay, I promise you are just paying interest. I promise you that is what they want you to do to stay indebted to them.
The scariest people in the world right now are the people that's debt free. Now, I live in a $900 apartment, but you ain't got no credit card debt? You ain't got no student loans? Your house paid for? And the government ain't got a hit out on you?
If you have $8,000 in debt, you should not be putting money into your savings. You should be putting at least half of your money towards paying off your credit card or paying off whatever debt that might be. Okay, student loans is 3%, but credit card debt is like 18%. It's high, okay? So whatever it is that you're making, whatever profit or whatever, you need to be actually putting it towards your credit card debt.
The girlies are paying off their credit cards this year. I fully believe it. For every single one of us, being credit card debt free is going to be the best feeling ever. And I am so close to getting there, and I genuinely want everyone else to get there as well, because I just understand how debilitating credit card debt can be. A year ago, I was in like $20,000 of credit card debt, and I'm down to like my last 1,000, which is absolutely insane to even say out loud, because I just never thought that I could do it. And it ain't for the faint of heart, but if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Things we need to do, y'all, are cut back on the unnecessary spending habits. The $200 shopping hauls at Target are just, they gotta go. The Sephora orders when we already have plenty of makeup in our drawer, they gotta go. And the expensive dining out at restaurants also kind of has to go. But we can do it. We got this. Like, it's gonna be the best ever. Something you have to do if you're trying to pay off credit card debt right now. In the world we live in, we are constantly being told that we don't have enough. We don't have enough clothes, we don't have enough skincare, we don't have enough makeup, we don't have enough organizational items in our house. Like, no matter what we do not have enough. In order to pay off debt and to get to a place where you're financially comfortable, you have got to learn to tune out that influence and to just be able to be content with the things that you have and to make do and realize that you really don't need all of the things that you convince yourself that you need. I used to have a drawer full of makeup products that I just never used, and eventually I gave them all away and decided that I was going to stick to what I actually need to use on a daily basis. And when that runs out, if I want to try something new, then I can try a new product. But I promise you, you are never going to get anywhere financially if you are constantly adding things to your cart and buying things that you don't need. For example, right now, I really want new pajamas for myself, but I know that it's not a need. Like, I have clothes that I can sleep in and I don't need to go spend $60 on a pair of pajamas just because I saw them on TikTok. And getting to that place mentally where you can talk yourself off the ledge of spending money is key to paying off credit card debt.
Credit card debt can sneak upon anyone, but with the right moves, you can totally get out of it. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more tips and real stories from real people. We'd love to hear from you, so drop a comment below about your own experiences with credit card debt. How did you deal with it? Let's talk in the comments below.